Okay, number 80 looks like kind of a tough problem here. They've given you kind of a nasty function, and there's a whole bunch of decimals involved in the answer, so we're definitely going to need our calculator on this one. They're asking you the question right here of on which of the following intervals is the graph of f concave upward? So hopefully we know that concavity is information we get from the second derivative, that when f double prime is positive, that means we are concave upward, and then when f double prime is negative, that means that we are concave downward. Okay, got it. The hard part here is, guys, they gave us information about f prime, not f and not f double prime, both of which would have been more helpful right here than just knowing something about f prime. But let's see what we can do. So I'm going to go to my calculator now, and I'm going to graph this function here, guys, which, if I did this right, I have ready, come on, I have ready to go here. I just haven't hit the check mark right there. Okay, there we go, and we'll hit enter, and that's the graph that we should be looking at. Now, we really only care about this graph on the interval here from negative 1.5 to 1.5. So, if you're so inclined, you might be smart enough just to be able to do this by hand, but I don't want to chance it. I'm going to go to Window and Zoom, and I'm going to go to Window Settings, and I'm going to type in my new X minimum value here of negative 1.5, and then I'm going to go down here, and my X maximum then I'm going to put in at 1.5. The Y values probably aren't hugely important right here, but I think I'm good with what I have here. So this is my graph here, guys. This is what, now remember now, this is f prime in this graph looks like. So I'm going to try to sketch this thing out real quickly right here, and it's not going to be perfect, and I know that, but that's okay. So this curve kind of had this gentle, let's see, increase, decrease, all right, then back up, and then back down a little bit. All right, so let me see if I can get that right, guys, roughly. So this graph kind of went up and down and up again, and then back down. Is that roughly what it is? All right, regardless, I don't think my graph is perfect. I'm not really going to use it. Here's the key, though, everybody. This is the graph of y equals f prime of x. So how does that relate to the sign of the second derivative? All right, guys, what we need to do then is consider the derivative of this graph right over here. All right, and what we see, and I think I did this right, is that anywhere that this graph is increasing, which I believe this function is at the very beginning of this interval, the derivative of f prime, otherwise known as f double prime, is going to be positive. Anywhere this graph decreases, the derivative of f prime or f double prime is going to be negative. So what we really want to answer here, guys, is this question: where, or better yet, on what intervals? That's maybe a better question right there. Where does f prime increase? Where f prime increases, that would mean then that f double prime, the derivative of f prime, would be positive, and therefore f would be concave upward. So back to this graph over here, guys. Where does this thing increase? It looks like it increases at the beginning of this interval from negative 1.5 until an x value that's relatively close there. Now, I don't want to guess, although I think I know my answer already. So I would go to Analyze Graph, and I would try to find a maximum on this curve right here with a, shouldn't use the pen. All right, with a lower bound somewhere like that, and an upper bound to the right. So it looks like it's increasing from negative 1.5 to negative 1.341. So I already feel like negative 1.5, yep, that's this interval right here. And if I was really pressed for time, I think I know my answer already. But just to double check, it looks like it also increases on a second interval. So let's do this again. I'm going to try to find a minimum to this curve here and there, gotcha, and then I'm going to try to find another maximum to this curve that's going to be over here somewhere. And what does that tell me? This function, f prime, increases on the interval from negative 2.40 to 0.964. Therefore, its derivative, the derivative of f prime, which is f double prime, would be positive on that interval as well. So negative 0.240 to 0.964, and sure enough, that's this interval right here, and our answer to number 80 is A.